Welcome everybody to race day here at Brainerd International Raceway. Stop number 6 of 9, the MotoAmerica Championship season. The Stock 1000 is the first race of the weekend, ready to kick off. It's been all about practice and qualifying and seeing what this new track, new old track is all about. It's been around here a long time. There's new parts to it as Corey Alexander is making his way through the paddock and working his way to that front straightaway where we'll take off in a 13-lap adventure in the Stock 1000 class. A unique entrance on the track here as they come down pit lane, work their way around left underneath the tunnel, and far from where our vantage point is, that's where they'll be starting in a slightly bending right-hand turn, and it will be a very fast right-hand turn as well. Very tricky section right here as you see Corey Alexander on the 23. Man trying to win that Stock 1000 championship. It was vacated by Cam Peterson, who has moved up to the Honda Superbike class. You'll see former champion in here as well, Andrew Lee on the 14, a two-time winner the 2 previous years. But the number 1 qualifier will be Jake Lewis on his Suzuki. As Corey Alexander heads off into the distance, you see that 12-point advantage he has over the pole sitter. Travis Wyman 20 points behind, coming off that win at Laguna Seca. Michael Gilbert, he's looking racy this weekend. He's going to start second today, but he's starting to look more like the Michael Gilbert of old. I think they found some things on that bike, and of course the Honda of Ashton Yates will start on the outside of row 2. Find your favorite rider in the field. Jeremy Coffey back there in 15. Vice Prince Stefano Mesa. Mesa 37 entry, racing 2 classes this weekend. This will be the only time we see the Stock 1000s. In true Stock 1000 form, they will race with the Honda Superbikes in the Superbike Cup, but they have 1 Stock 1000 race this weekend. Green flag is waving for these guys on their sighting the lap. As I mentioned, it'll be a 13-lap race. Welcome everybody inside the booth here at BIR. Robbie Floyd, Roger Hayden, good to have you once again, Roger. The wind's starting to pick up. That means it's blowing out the smoke that we've had the past few days as Canada's been on fire. Things are clearing up. Things are heating up on the track. Really, track temperatures haven't been an issue. I think 110 track temp Fahrenheit's the highest it got yesterday.
I think the weather this weekend has actually been perfect, so I think track temperature is not going to be an issue. These guys will have a little bit of a problem with the tailwind headed into the really fast turn 2. Probably wasn't this windy this morning when they were out there in their second qualifier, so it's going to be something to watch for the first couple laps.
Look at those treetops blowing. It is definitely windy out there right now, but just a slight haze. It was absolute. I thought the forest was on fire right in front of me as I was heading from Minneapolis up here to Brainerd. I even called you and said, man, are they going to shut down the roads? But look how clear it is now. It's because it's race day. It's time to get things going, and we've got to talk to our partner down there who's going to be trackside getting us all the scoop, Michael Hill. Michael, welcome to BIR.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It is a beautiful day here. You talk about things being on fire. Well, I can tell you what is going to be on fire. It's the BIR's 2.5-mile road circuit in a few minutes' time. Just over my shoulder here, this is where I predict we are going to see some action in the final stages of the race. It is a technical corner. They're coming through here from the carousel, through the little Mickey Mouse chicane, building speed. They're going to flick it left, and then they flick it right, right in front of the hot pits. I don't know if the camera can see this across here, the M4 X-Star Suzuki pit. We're literally right opposite turn 11 and turn 12. But there's a bump in the middle of turn 12. We've already seen a number of riders going down in Supersport. We've seen Jake Gagne and we've seen Loris Baz running off the circuit and almost literally going the whole length of this mini straight on the grass. But basically coming out of here on a last lap situation, there is a chance to pass here, but it's a slim one. And I don't care whether it's a Junior Cup bike or whether it's right the way through the Superbike. This could be a decisive part of the circuit. And I'm in a prime position, guys, so I think we're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, he was so close to the action yesterday. He actually tasted some of the dirt as guys were kicking it off. Again, Michael said it was a 2.5-mile circulating clockwise circuit, constructed originally back in 1973. That's back when you rode it, right?
Yeah, pretty close, but it's actually the first turn and second turn is really fast. That's the old course all the way to turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's where it gets different, is in turn 8, a really long right-hand carousel into a chicane. It's really tight out of there. And when the guys come out of turn 9, grab a gear into turn 10, flick it into the right and a short shoot to turn 12. And we've seen a lot of guys have some mistakes this weekend into turn 12. It's really hard braking. Have to be precise to get in there. Then the 13, the last corner, to drive onto the front straightaway.
as you see the bikes working their way down that straightaway on their siding lap up. They're really not going to pick up anything that they haven't seen in the past 2 days. One good thing about this track as we take a look at our starting grid brought to you by Cardo. Danilo Lewis making it on the front row. We've seen him start to get faster and faster, but I'm glad to see Michael Gilbert. He said they've been kind of going the wrong direction, and they think they've got things figured out. They were chasing the dog's tail. They were going for one thing, and it was affecting another thing.
Yeah, and got the championship leader down there in 6th. He's kind of struggled a little bit this weekend, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can figure it out this weekend. And Andrew Lee, who's been really fast all weekend in all the sessions, had that crash toward the end of qualifying yesterday, had to get a brand new bike. Didn't make it out in the second qualifying this morning, so his first time on that bike's going to be in the race.
Find your favorite rider through the field there, and again, 6 full lanes will be set up. You see the starting grid on the right. This is the only race for them. I'd like to welcome everybody watching on Facebook Live today. I'm ready to see what these guys can do in racing trim. We've seen qualifying efforts. We've seen plenty of practice. And with that testing session, they've gotten some time out here, and there's not a perfect bike in the paddock. We know that for a fact. You're going to have to try and find the best bike you can have this weekend because it is not a perfect track, and there are never any perfect bikes.
No, never a bike is going to be perfect. You're going to have to make adjustments and give and take a little bit, but this track definitely is going to be one like that because the setup for the first part of the track that's really fast is probably not going to work in the second part of the track that's really tight and technical. So it's going to be very important to find something that works, for give and take, what works all over the whole track, but also most importantly race distance.
Our first of 5 races today. You see the safety car back at the end of the track. They race a lot of car races here as well. That's where you're getting a lot of these braking and acceleration bumps as we get ready to go here at Brainerd. The red lights will go on as soon as you see the gentleman out in front move away with that red flag. They're still waiting on something. Either somebody doesn't have their bike started, held their hand up. Now they're waiting. The red lights will come on, and when they drop out, it'll be time to go racing. 13-lap race. Jake Lewis with a look over straight to his left. Michael Gilbert with a good run. Danilo Lewis, maybe not the best start. Stefano Mesa, the green bike on the near side. Is that him? Or is that Corey Alexander trying to run around that outside? I think it's Alexander.
Looks like Michael Gilbert in the second already.
Gibby's look good. I think it's just one of those things. The bike wasn't quite right, and they kept chasing something that wasn't there. And I think he's actually riding smoother, going faster, and going for the pass right off the bat. Into the right hand on board Corey Alexander. We're seeing he's in 4th place. Looks like Ashton Yates just underneath him. There goes Lewis. And what a run by Michael Gilbert trying to get a win just like we saw at the start of the year. He came out like hotcakes, and he's on fire once again.
Also, Jake Lewis has kind of had a little bit of pace on these guys this weekend, so he wants to be aggressive early, not let him try to check out and get away.
Differential after the second qualifying, I think it was a half a second with Jake Lewis over Michael Gilbert. But again, keeping the bike, being fast early on is one thing. Having that bike there at the end, that's another story as well. We saw even Jake Lewis, as fast as he was at the ridge, having issues towards the end of the race. You got to keep that thing underneath you the whole time.
And also, a lot of these guys, a lot of the other tracks they've been to, they know the passing zones and where you can make passes. This is the first race for anybody at this new configuration, so they're going to be learning as this race goes on.
Michael Gilbert from Tustin, California, Chuckwalla Valley Raceway, Octane, Linding, Kawasaki ZX-10. Ashton Yates there in 3rd place. You see him on that red Honda, the 22. There's Yates. I believe that's Lewis. That is Lewis up into 4th right now. Getting into a tuck. I talked to Josh Hayes a little bit earlier. And what are your opinions as far as these fast straightaways? Will the drafting play a part with the big bikes?
It could easily, but also, like I was talking about earlier, the wind could play a factor in this turn 2 where they're at right now. But these first 2 corners are really, really fast, but it's important to get through there to try to get a good run on somebody like Michael Gilbert did the previous lap to make the pass into turn 3.
Jake Lewis looks like he's just sitting back there on that Altus Motorsports Suzuki. That was the bike that won the championship with Cam Peterson on board. Jake Lewis trying to do it this year for the same Altus Motorsports team, a former Superbike championship caliber rider. Now he's riding the Stock 1000. And it's one of those things, he might have took a year off and had some guest rides last year, but he wants to show everybody Jake Lewis still has it.
And also, Corey Alexander, beginning of the race, was into 4th, and he's kind of fallen back now even to to 7th. Wyatt Ferris has got around him too, so he's definitely kind of going the wrong way.
I don't know what's wrong with him. I went to go talk to him yesterday. He was on the phone. Richie Escalante was on the phone, so I didn't get to speak with him, but there's something not quite right with Corey Alexander. He just doesn't look like his typical self. Let's go down to Michael Hill.
Yeah, really impressive start from the front too. Michael Gilbert in the lead, but he's got Jake Lewis now swarming all over the back of him like a bad suit as they come past me in the pit lane area. Interestingly, on this lap, Ashton Yates is bridging the gap. The first two, they had a small advantage at the start of lap number 1. That gap is coming down, and I think, as we've said already this weekend, guys, it's a circuit of 2 halves, and the slipstream here will play a big part, and I think that's going to prevent anybody from breaking away. Don't know what you guys think. That's just my take on it.
Well, I think, you know, for sure with the lap times are a little bit off right now. They've been a lot quicker in qualifying, and I think that will definitely keep the group more bunched up than the draft. So if these guys can kind of get back into their qualifying times, low 33s, I think it can break up the pack a little bit more. But if they're going to stay in the high 39s, you're going to let guys like Stefan Mesa, now he's catching up into this pack as well and making it a 5-rider group. And also Wyatt Ferris is starting to inch up on these guys as well.
A lot of stories in our field right here. The Kawasaki leads the Suzuki, the Honda, BMW, 4 different manufacturers in those top 4. There's Stefano Mesa looking back, Corey Alexander just behind Wyatt Ferris. I thought I saw Wyatt Ferris qualifying and riding better than I've seen him all year on the 79, that M4 X-Star Suzuki. I think just behind him is our championship points leader, Corey Alexander. And just behind him, Andrew Lee, and he's even got a story unique this weekend. Now, that's a brand new bike racing for Andrew Lee, and it seemed like he was just riding a freshie last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new bike from last night. Had that crash in the second qualifying at the end last night, and actually had to go buy a brand new bike last night to make the race today. Didn't even get out in qualifying today, so the race is the first time that he's going to be able to ride that bike, and already be in the top 8 with the lead battle is pretty impressive. And I think Jake Lewis actually made a pass for the lead.
And they're battling back and forth, Gilbert and Lewis. But yeah, I mean, that's some good sponsorship right there. I think he actually has a brand new bike waiting for him on the West Coast. Couldn't get it here, but a local shop stayed open even later. It was 2 hours from here. They stayed open, and it enables Andrew Lee to race today in Stock 1000 and Honda Superbike in the Superbike Cup. So yes, we do have Jake Lewis. It was a purple time that last time around, a 1:33:43. Gilbert's going to get behind. That's a good opportunity for Gilbert, right? I mean, he can maybe see where Jake might be a little quicker.
Yeah, good opportunity for him, and also for Jake, like I was talking about a couple laps ago, maybe get into the low 33s and really try to break this pack up and make it more of a 2-rider battle toward the end of the race and not have so many guys in the mix.
Jake Lewis won back at Virginia International Raceway, so maybe he does good with the BIR-VIR combo. He took a victory there. He also won at the first Road America. He's looking for his third win of the season. And he only sits 12 points behind. The differential between first and second is 5 points. He would love to take advantage of that at 5 points between first and second. But right now, with Corey Alexander sitting back in 7th, he'd be right at taking the championship points lead.
Yeah, he's going to be right there, and this is exactly what he wants to see.
Let's go to Michael.
The first two now starting to pull away. The first two inching away because Jake Lewis has hit the front and he's gone purple sector in sector 2 and sector 3. And you can see what it's done to the field. He has decided now is the time to throw down the gauntlet. Gilbert trying to go with him. And at the moment, only Michael Gilbert can respond to Jake Lewis, who continues to lead this race at the front. Lewis does not want to get involved in a bun fight in the last few laps. He's decided now is the time to pull the pin, stretch the elastic, and that might just give him a bit of an easier time in the run to the flag in about 5 or 6 laps time.
The question is, how fast are they coming down? That speed trap, about 150 miles an hour for Michael Gilbert that last time around. Jake Lewis, 146. That shows you that the draft will play a little bit of a part there.
Yeah, Michael Gilbert made up 3/10 in that first sector there, and you can see how much quicker he was than Jake Lewis. So he has that first part of that track really dialed in, and with the tracks with the really fast corners like that, that's where the opportunities where you can make up the most time. And Michael Gilbert, you can see this lap is starting to close this gap a little bit.
I could kind of giggle because Jake Lewis is a big boy. I mean, he's punching a big hole in there. Michael Gilbert not the biggest. He can tuck and get behind and use advantage of that big wind blocker just in front of him.
Yeah, Jake's definitely one of the tallest riders out on the field, so it's going to make a pretty big, pocket of air for the draft. So I don't know if it's the draft or if Michael Gilbert's just getting through the first and second turn better.
That bike handling really well now. the twisty, turny section of the course right in front of our vantage point. We're in the building just off to the racer's left, heading into the sharp left-hand turn. And my first view of this venue, I thought that left turn was going to be critical. We've seen several guys running off there.
We haven't. We haven't seen too many guys make a mistake there in this race, so it looks like everybody kind of has it dialed in, but it's still early yet. And just like you, I think that turn 12, 13 area is going to play a factor in the positions in these races.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you don't go underneath somebody and hold that position, take that spot. If they're out of line getting on 13, that's one of the most critical things. Getting a good run on that straightaway. Stefano Mesa in a battle with Danilo Lewis. Corey Alexander's behind this group. He's not even in the picture right there. So you've got Yates on the red bike, the Honda, the Kawasaki, the 37 of Stefano Mesa. And Danilo going down right when, he's finally back into form again. What we saw last year, he goes down hard.
Just on the brakes, got in a little deep into turn 3 and just was trail braking a little too long, lost the front.
7th in the championship points behind Jeff May, looking for his first podium this year. He took one podium last year in the 2020 season. Let's take a look at the 94, what happens. Just a little outside a typical line, right?
Just looked like it was just a little bit wide, kind of maybe a little bump there, and that's all it took.
And evidently, while we were showing the replay, somebody else going down, and that's what you do not want. Do not, I hope that's not, who is that? I don't want to guess. I can't quite see the number, but that's one of the toughest things, because even though the yellow flag's waving, sometimes even guys might crash because they look up to try and find what's causing the yellow. Again, we'll try and get you that rider. You see them walking off the track. We'll get that number as soon as we can.
Last lap, Jake Lewis, fastest lap of the race, 32.9, the only guy that can get into the 32s and kind of built that gap up to over a second over Gilbert. And this lap, I think, is going to be even bigger.
Well, I was going to ask you earlier, is this a place you think they would be able to pull away or not? And we are seeing that Jake Lewis is able to pull away a little bit from Michael Gilbert. Gilbert, some separation between himself and Ashton Yates right now as well. You see Yates just now coming into the picture. It's a good run for Gilbert, but if he can keep him within eyesight, he can't lose any more tenths, really. There's only 7 laps to go, or 6.5.
No, but also he wants to stay that close just in case, Jake runs into that same problem that he had at Washington the last couple laps and let Corey inch up there and get the win.
Oh, and here's why it's so dangerous when you're a course worker out there and the one bike going down. I believe that's the who is it? The 138 Lehman that went down. It is 139, Jesse Lehman on the Lehman's flooring. He did walk off. And again, we just caught the tail end of that, but you never know. But a lot of times when there's a yellow flag waving, sometimes you do something you wouldn't normally do and maybe get out into some of that gray area. Lap 7 of 13 for the Altus Motorsports Suzuki. There you go. You're saying how many laps are left that time around. He's saying 6 laps. You're in first, and you got about 8 tenths on Michael Gilbert.
He's got a little more than 8 tenths.
Hey, they don't want to tell him too much, right? Some guys like that. They say, go ahead and fudge me, 3 tenths here, 3 tenths there, 1.3 tenths there. Yeah, he had 2 seconds that last time around, and they're telling him 8 tenths. So maybe that's truly, you said that before, like he said, take that 1 off and just tell me the 8 tenths. Looking back at Ashton Yates in third on that red Honda. Stefano Mesa racing 2 classes. He'll be in the Super Sport race as well. Stefano looking up and around. I don't know what he was looking for there.
Stefano Mesa is definitely closing up this lap on Ashton Yates. Actually, the last lap he had a purple second sector, and you can tell how much he's reeled in Ashton this lap, and going to be a battle for that last podium spot.
And 3 podium appearances for Ashton Yates, still looking for that first win. Let's go down to Michael.
Yeah, you guys have just called it. Stefano Mesa a third of a second quicker than Ashton Yates. He's got the target in front of him. And I was talking to Ashton Yates this morning as he arrived at the circuit quite early, and said, what happened yesterday? This bike is only just been repaired following a fuel pump issue. And he said he hopes that they don't have a repetition of that during the race. Now, I don't think for 1 second that that's what's happening, because the pace of Yates is still very, very quick. But Yates did go down yesterday, and they were working on the bike quite late. So keep our eyes on Ashton Yates. But more importantly, as you guys have just said, keep your eyes on Stefano Mesa. Once again, 3/10 quicker. And on this lap as well, in Sector 1 alone, he was 4/10 quicker in Sector 1. So he has definitely got the eyes on a potential podium for Mesa, the 37.
I thought he lost a little ground there towards the end, but it almost looked like in some of that lap that we were watching, Mesa kind of looking up, setting around. He looks like he's feeling pretty comfortable. Maybe not necessarily for the win, but right now he's racing for a podium.
Well, the last lap, actually, Ashton Yates was about 4/10 quicker than Stefano Mesa, so maybe he's kind of responded to Stefano closing that gap up.
Stefano just looks like he's got, you know, one of those ones where he feels like he's accepted, you know, that he might not be up there with Jake Lewis, but that's really the race he needs to win right now. Just look at one guy. Don't worry about the other two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the podium spot's right there, so you have to go for it if you're Stefano Mesa.
Again, the contingencies these guys are dealing with, and Stefano on the Kawasaki. I know he and several riders were looking at the Honda and whether to maybe make that move. Ashton Yates did that. He waited all year last year for that new Fireblade. Now he has it, but I don't know that the contingency is quite there between the Kawasaki and the Honda. And honestly, that's how Stefano Mesa, that's guys like how Jeff May last year, that's how guys like Andrew Lee can make money going to race after race to race with the Kawasaki contingency.
And I think that's why you see so many Cowies, you know, in the Stock 1000 class, because of the contingency money.
Here's the race with Andrew Lee, the two-time champion in the Stock 1000, and Wyatt Ferris currently in 6th. Do not have Ferris with a top 5. It would be one of his best races if he can just stay there or move up one more spot. Andrew Lee's going to have something to say about it. But even though these are Stock 1000s, you can't get more stock than Andrew Lee is. I mean, that's a bike just literally off the showroom floor less than 24 hours ago. As far as that engine's concerned, they probably, of course, had their suspension set up. But, I mean, that is a absolute stock engine. And
this is the first time he drove the bike as well as in the race. So definitely, you know, when you get a brand new bike, you definitely want one session on it before a race. But, you know, he didn't have that opportunity, and he's making the most of you know, at least he got out here and getting to make the race in 7th in the battle for 6th. So not all is lost.
Yeah, it was a tough day yesterday for Andrew Lee. The 14 is battling for a top 5 right now. We talk about having to go get that new bike just 2 hours from here yesterday afternoon. Let's take a look at what happened to Andrew Lee. And boy, I bet you he's still sore from this crash. Gets chucked over and almost lands on that tailbone of the hip. And I think he was actually having a bad time with the leg whip. I think he was giving his foot problems that he really didn't feel at the time when he walked off, but was feeling it later on in the afternoon. Andrew Lee going underneath, a little bit lower line. Ferris going wide. Lee's making up time, and you saw Ferris, he even had to sit up.
Yeah, I think Andrew Lee will note that for the next lap. You know, if Wyatt Ferris keeps using that wide line in the turn 8 to carousel, he's definitely opening the door for Andrew Lee to come through.
I'm really surprised Andrew still wasn't able to get under there. I mean, Wyatt Ferris was in no man's land that time. 3 laps to go. Evidently, we have bike number 48. We get timing and scoring on there. The 48 of Joe Giannato got a 5-second penalty for cutting the track. There's a certain part of this course that they told everybody, we're not going to give you any warnings. If you cut this particular section, you're docked automatically 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was the chicane there that we just seen those guys go through after that long right-hand carousel, that quick chicane, right, left. If you miss that chicane, then you get a +5 penalty. And, you know, they made that beginning of the weekend. They sent out the notice to all the teams and all the riders, and everybody knows what the penalty is if you go through that chicane.
Driving hard, Andrew Lee. You see how close he is to the M4XR Suzuki. He's trying to get the drive on the inside here. He puts the pressure. He already saw Wyatt Ferris going wide one time. Now he's kind of getting back to that area where you could put the pressure on. One little mistake here, and that's why even, you know, Michael Gilbert back there 3-4 seconds. This is not an easy track. One mistake could cost you literally seconds of time.
And we've seen a lot of guys make simple mistakes all weekend and end up off the track, so you just got to keep your nose in it. This is the section of the track last lap where Andrew Lee got close enough to make the pass on the inside. If you could tell that lap Wyatt didn't go nearly as wide as the previous lap.
I think he went a little slower and made sure he went lower that time. Yeah, he was stuck in no man's land, but made a very good adjustment. And more of a, even though he wasn't going as fast, more of a blocking line that time for Wyatt Ferris, currently in 6th. Ferris 7th in the championship points. His best finish was, he got 2 11 points races. So you get 11 points for 5th. So he's right outside his best finish. I think I was seeing that right. Still seeing the pressure from the Kawasaki. 2 laps to go, or less than 2 laps to go. He's looking for a pass here, isn't he?
Yeah, it looks like he got a good run out of 2 into 3 and going to make the pass on the brakes.
Backing it in a little bit, wanting to actually straight line break that one, and now going to try and drag race, use all of the track on exit, because he knew the only place Wyatt Fair was going to get by him was on that outside that time, and that was still using the racecraft of Andrew Lee.
Yeah, and even yesterday, that's where he had that mistake. Yeah. So you can tell he's already put that mistake behind him yesterday. Looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Wyatt at the end of this race, and you know, what a solid ride by Andrew Lee on a bike that he's never rode before.
Andrew Lee doing it on his own now. Franklin Armory helping him out as always, but Andrew Lee racing. Moving up a spot, able to move into 6th. Still Jake Lewis out in front, about a 5-second advantage over Michael Gilbert. Not really in the picture right now. Gibby with another solid points day, but look at the points. If Jake Lewis wins this race, Corey Alexander takes 5th. I mean, that is a handful, a ton of points. First, you get 25 points. 5th, you get 11. That's 14. I mean, this championship is neck and neck.
Yeah, and this is what Jake needed to do. He had to capitalize on the weekend that, you know, Corey has been a little bit off pace and coming here, and he had to get this win. He had to close that gap down to, you know, at least single digits this weekend, and that's what he's did so far. And if he completes this lap, he's going to be only 1 point back.
Just not having the race weekend we're used to seeing out of Corey Alexander. Something's not quite right. He's still got 2 more races to work with. The Superbike Cup, both today and tomorrow. See the 10 there, a Travis Wyman, that BMW. That is also a stock motor in there because he had to get some help. He burned up the motor that won at Laguna. That's a freshie in this bullet as well. Yeah,
he had some engine troubles on the test day at Thursday. Had to put a new engine in the bike, and you know, really didn't even get many laps all day during the test day on Thursday. Had to break in the engine the first session on Friday, so he really started the weekend on the back foot and running P9. He was only 20 points out of the points lead headed into this weekend, so he's going to take a big hit in the points as well.
We're on that final lap with Jake Lewis out in front, the 85 out of Kentucky. On the weekend that was celebrating Nikki Hayden's 40th birthday. And we might have another Kentucky kid as he shakes his head and working his way to that finish line. He took a look over to the left and said, "Gibby, you ain't got nothing for me today. I'm bringing the Altus Motorsports Suzuki to the checkered line, the checkered flag first." Jake Lewis does it again, and what a points day for him. Gilbert looks more like Gilbert taking 2nd place. Stefano Mesa works his way up into 3rd place unofficially. 4th goes to Ashton Yates. Corey Alexander, you would have to think, would be in a disappointed 5th, or maybe it's a bonus. If he just didn't feel right, salvaging 5th could save him. Travis Wyman going off course almost there is going to salvage a spot. I think he tried running it in deep there at the end, didn't he?
I don't know if he's having trouble or if he ran off there in 12.
And Wyman going to come across 12th place behind Jason Waters, who I think that's who he got the bike from yesterday as well. So Waters on the 960 just in front of him. Jake Schmatter taking a top 10. Good run by him. Jason Farrell working through the field, finished 8th. Yeah, disappointing for Travis Wyman, especially after the hard-fought battle. Well, trying to dive underneath of Jason Farrell there and just pushed it too hard.
Yeah, just got in a little deep. That turn 12, we've seen this happen a lot this weekend. Just trying to make the pass and just couldn't get it slowed down.
He did a good job keeping it on 2 wheels once you hit that gravel trap. And Roger, you say that's one of those block pass corners. You just have to get a wheel, you know, up underneath somebody, but you still got to get it stopped.
Yeah, but that's the hard part, is getting it stopped through there. We talked to a lot of guys this week talking about how hard it is to get the bike to stop getting into turn 12.
Do you see what's happening right there? Jake Lewis is actually counting points. He's looking at Stefano going, "What place did you get?" He goes 3rd. He could check that off because he knows that's not Corey Alexander. Then he's probably going to wonder, "Hey, Ashton, what place did you get?" 4th. Okay, check that one off. This is a Jake Lewis kind of day. I mean, the one stock 1000 race of the weekend, he took, you know, great advantage of it.
And he had to. I mean, he's been the quickest stock 1000 guy. Was fat, you know, had a half a second in qualifying, and you know, when you're that much faster than the guys in the championship battle on the race weekend, you have to capitalize on that.
And taking his third race win of the year. Stock 1,000 points will be jumbled up. And again, for the victory, you get 25 points. Corey Alexander in fifth will get 11. That's a 14-point advantage, and there were only 12 points coming in. So I'm not good with math, but I think Jake Lewis is the new points leader by only 2 points, and the fans are here to see it. Good to have the fans out here in Minnesota. Boys and girls, men and women of all ages. A lot of camping here. I mean, this you kind of get that Road America feel where the guys are, there's great vantage points from the stands, but also all around this track as well. A lot of camping opportunities. Gibby happy with that second place, and there's a guy even happier that Gibby was second, and that's Jake Lewis.
Yeah, it definitely didn't hurt Jake's feeling growing up in the Podium and not seeing the 23 there, knowing he's made up a lot of points.
Altus Motorsports doing it once again. Again, a tremendous entry in the paddock. You know how strong they are in the Super Sport class as well. But they won that championship last year with Cam Peterson. And really, Jake Lewis now starting to pick up where Cam Peterson left off with his third win of the year. So as they push the bikes to the victory podium, Stefano Mesa always seems to be there, whether it be the 600 or the 1,000, and we saw him with some get-offs at Laguna.
He's a fighter, man. He never
look
gives
at
up,
Mama
does he?
Mesa. She's so happy for her boy. Where's Papa Mesa? He's probably still down. He's probably getting the 600 ready, to be honest with you. Let's tell the truth. Michael Gilbert doing it again. He started off the year with a win at Road Atlanta. But a second place, that had to feel like a win after some of his finishes as of late. Kind of looks like you, Roger, back in the day with that mustache. You've been forbidden to have just stash only now, right?
I was asked not to, yeah.
I was asked not to. Oh, man. You know, there's a case, Roger, and I was talking to Gilbert, and he was talking about those times when you might push too hard and it upsets the bike at times. I think that was the issue with him, and it had him kind of chasing the wrong direction when it had to come a lot from him. You know, if he made a little bit of a rider adjustment, the bike might be a little bit more compliant. Michael Hill's down there ready. You can say he's still trying to dial in that bike, but Jake Lewis, he had it dialed here for his third race win.
Yeah, I'm down here then with our race winner and the new leader of the MotoAmerica Championship, Jake Lewis. Great job, but joking aside, I'm going to take credit for that. 46 1,000s we talked about you needing to find. You found a bit more than that today. Great job.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the race was picture perfect in my head. You know, I talked to Michael before the race, and I felt like us two had a little bit more pace than the rest of the class today and yesterday. And so we got out front and followed him for a couple laps, and then I was like, I'm going to drop the hammer because, honestly, I could do 33s pretty easily by myself earlier today. And hats off to the whole Altus Motorsports team. You know, honestly, the team and bike has been incredible the past 2 days, and I feel really good physically, mentally, and it's nice to win like that going away. You know, it means a lot for my confidence and my team. You know, we keep the momentum going because there's only 3 more weekends and 3 more stock races, so we have to win these races. And big thanks, like I said, to the Altus Motorsports team, my crew chief Eric, my mechanics, Tony, David, and Johnny. They were giving me crap last time. You know, Johnny was the first weekend at Laguna was his first with the team, and I looked at him at the podium. I was like, damn, I can't even think of his name. So definitely credit to him. Arai Helmets, Cortec Leathers, Service Tools and Plastics, the Picanti Group, and special thanks to my mom for supporting me. It's her 60th birthday tomorrow, so I needed to win today and just go have some fun in these Superbike races and hopefully make up some points in the Superbike Cup. So that's all. You know, thanks for everything with my girlfriend. You know, we went on vacation last week, and I was running with her brother every day, and just every day I was running, you know, it's going through my mind like I want to win the championship bad, and that's all I'm going to be thinking about till the end of the year. So hats off to everybody. Thank you.
Hats off to you. Good job, buddy. Back to you guys upstairs.
Things are going Jake Lewis's way, and we only have Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Barber Motorsports left to go.
Yeah, and did exactly what he had to do. You know, like I said, you have to capitalize whenever your competitor's having trouble, and I think who's Robbie caught up with now? Michael Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm down here with our very smiley, very happy Michael Gilbert, who is back on the podium in second place. A great start from you, where you made the move to take the lead. Unfortunately, not able to go with Jake, but those laps that you put in the early stages paid off because it was a solid second. Good job.
Absolutely. It felt good just to honestly get up and lead a race again. You know, we had a struggle at Laguna Seca and a little bit at the Ridge, so it was nice to be up front. And like I said, lead laps. Hats off to Jake. He's riding really, really well right now. So anyways, I got to give it up to my guys, Jason and Josh, to keep believing in me, and we keep making strides forward, and the ZX-10 is really starting to feel like mine again, you know, really have some confidence in the bike. You know, I got to give it all the hard work out at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. It might not be the land of 10,000 lakes out there in the desert, but it's a great training facility, octane lending. Everyone back in my corner, my parents, my girlfriend back home, just keep believing in me. And like I said, we're making strides forward. We're going to use these superbike races this afternoon and tomorrow to continue doing that progress and try and go after Jake. But we're starting to crawl ourselves back into the championship, and you know, we want to be there at the end, so we'll be there.
Good job, well done today.
Michael Gilbert was 14 points behind Travis Wyman, closing up a little bit, especially with that finish by Wyman in 12th spot. He's going to make up a lot of ground today. Might have made it all up here today as we look at the 55 with that 10-inch shield, and now we look at the 37, Mesa 37, Stefano Mesa in third.
Yeah, a fantastic race and a fantastic final lap for Stefano Mesa, who gets it back on the box. What a ride, Stefano. Welcome back to MotoAmerica and welcome back to the podium, buddy.
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, my team worked so hard to come out to those races, and all I can do is get out there and ride the bike and at least give him a result. And I'm happy to be here after Laguna weekend. We struggled over there, so I mean, my hat's off to the whole team. We had a great race. I just was following Ashton the whole time, and I didn't really have anything to pass him, but he did a little mistake there in the last corner and took advantage of it, you know, and kind of blocked him in the next corner. So it worked for me, and I'm happy to be here. We're about to go out in the 600, so we'll see what we can do.
Thanks, Stefano.
One of the Olympic years, you see the Colombian flag there, but it's an American on the top spot of the box taking gold here today, Jake Lewis. And in the championship points hunt, let's take a look at those points with Jake on top by 2 over Corey Alexander, Michael Gilbert. So just about a one race differential between first and third, but only 2 points. I mean, that's nothing.
No, I mean, that's just first and second is 5 points, so that could be that could flip-flop the next race at Pittsburgh.
You see the championship points hunt throughout the field there. Unfortunately for Danilo Lewis, not able to get points after that crash when he was inside the top 5. We got drag racing here also at Brainerd International Raceway. Just on the outside, I heard some high horsepower engines going down the straight yesterday. We've got more high horsepower later on today, but when we come back, we're going to see Mike on the mic. Michael Hill's going to cruise around the paddock and see what's in store here at BIR. One race down, we still have 4 more to go. It's been a rough day for some. It's been a gold medal day for others. Jake Lewis with the win in Stock 1000.